Welcome to Animania Chronicles, where we dive deep into the captivating worlds of anime, dissecting stories, unraveling characters, and sharing our passion for all things animated. Welcome, anime fans. Today, we're diving into a detailed review of The Fruit of Grisaia Part 1 of 6, an anime that has captivated audiences with its unique storytelling and immersive world building. Join me as we explore the first part of this epic journey into a world of magic, adventure, and self-discovery. Let's get started. Beauty was a poor child who was bullied by his dad at a young age for his lack of talent. He lived in the shadows of his genius sister, who made their family rich with her talents. When a tragedy struck their home, Yuji became an orphan and was trained by evil people to become the coldest elite soldier in the world. His journey, however, was one of the coldest anyone has ever had to witness. His parents always neglected him because he never had the same talent his sister, Kazuki, did. At a young age, her sketches would marvel their father, and her talent exceeded that of famous artists, allowing her to win numerous art competitions and have her work sell for millions of dollars. Yuji grew up avoiding his little sister because everyone made fun of him when he was with her. Kazuki wanted to fill the void her brother was feeling, so she became the only person who would play with him and even teach him how to throw balls. They would spend time together, and his sister supported him through everything, encouraging him to reach for his dreams because he had extraordinary potential. She was the only thing that ever brought him joy and inspired him to become like her. Even the bad drawings he would create, she would treasure to boost his confidence. Their father, however, continued mocking Yuji's work to the point where Yuji destroyed his own work from embarrassment. On a random day, Yuji met a strange man inside his home who asked him if he would like a piece of chocolate from an interesting box. His father called Yuji an embarrassment, but the mysterious man gave a sly smile. As years passed, Kazuki began hiding her talent and even canceled her art studies in Paris. Instead, she would spend time reading manga with her brother, saying that he should do this to make friends rather than being lonely his entire life. She didn't want Yuji to become the same person as their father and told him to start working on making some friends. At the same time, her occasional paintings became the sole income of their family, but their treatment of Yuji got worse. His family would go out to eat every night, but only left cold, stale bread for him. The only way he could eat the dry bread was by soaking it with water. Upon seeing this, Kazuki screamed at him to eat any of the food in the fridge, but Yuji told her that his parents would be mad at him if he did that. Kazuki's sadness grew, apologizing for not knowing how badly Yuji had been treated and yelling at her parents for his mistreatment. Even then, nothing improved. His father continued to blatantly show his hatred, and his mom began openly neglecting him to avoid his father's wrath. Once Yuji came home late and told his sister that he was playing with a friend. Kazuki wondered if she was a girl, which he told her that it was, but he worried that she would bully his new friend. She told him that she was trying to determine if his friends were appropriate for him and got mad at him for constantly making friends with girls. Kazuki's jealousy grew, and she yelled at him that he needed to get her permission to be friends with girls. Yuji accepted, and she held his hand, telling him that she would find the right girl for him one day. Later that same day, Kazuki asked him if he would like to take a bath with her as normal siblings. Kazuki kissed him that day, telling him that this was the true love she shared with him. Eventually, she enrolled in a regular high school and joined the basketball team to hide her incredible talents. Her friends became like pawns of hers as she manipulated them. But her influence extended to her manipulation of her parents, and that scared Yuji more than anything. Yuji depended on his sister, wishing that he could continue living that way forever until the day of the tragedy. A bus had crashed into a ravine, and a girl with red hair was the only survivor. Yuji's father fell into depression and turned to the bottle. His wrath began growing, and his mother began hiding him whenever his father came home. The only thing Yuji would remember is hearing his father yelling at his mom as she would just take it and say, "I'm sorry." He became the worst father imaginable, so Yuji and his mother ran away to a new home where she finally treated him like a normal son. He would enjoy her home cooking and felt like he was living in heaven. Even if they were broke, as long as they were away from their father, they found happiness together like that. But their peace wouldn't last, and a year later, Yuji's father had finally found them again. He tells Yuji's mom that she will lay him another golden egg, and Yuji tries to tell his father to stop. He couldn't bear seeing his mother like that, but his dad knocked him into the fridge. As this occurred, Yuji stared at his father and was determined to end him. He remembered his sister asking him which hand he would use to kill a man. He comforts his mom, and she asks him how far they should run this time. She tells him to run first and that she will join him afterward, giving him her entire life savings. She tells him to run to the train station and tells him good luck doing it on his own. Without a second thought, Yuji obeys his mom and runs to the train station, but hours pass and he begins hearing the ambulance sirens. As Yuji heads back to his home, he finds that his father had been slashed and enters his home only to find that he would never be able to talk to his mother again. After that day, his consciousness faded, and he later woke up inside a hospital with only a note left from his mother. She asked him for forgiveness, wondering where she went wrong and wishing that he could keep living on. With nowhere to go as an orphan, the mysterious man Ri became his guardian and began dressing him up as his little sister. But Yuji attempted to ignore his harassing guardian as he now had walls where he could eat and sleep. Nights passed, but on one of them, Rei's bodyguard came and was ready to harass Yuji, but met his doom by Yuji's hand. Rei came in surprise that Yuji was able to follow through with it and congratulates him on defending himself as he should have. Yuji asks if Rei is mad. Rei told him that he will make him into a strong tool and sent him to his military compound to train him. His days were spent becoming the coldest soldier, and he happened to be Rei's favorite pupil, but that only caused the other kids to keep bullying him. There was only one person who was kind to him, a girl named Marlene who had no memory of her past. She would treat him and even save her food for him, and he thought that she was the only person he could rely on. Rei would go by the name of Oslo on this island and would even train using real knives with Yuji. He taught him to rely on knives and to kill before he gets killed. After all, everyone in the world was his enemy, including his own family. Oslo brainwashed him into believing that he was his only ally. The day of the final exam came, and his test was to kill the person standing in front of him, but it happened to be none other than Marlene. He prepared to face off against her. He began running towards her, punching her and knocking her down. His agility surpassed hers, and his blows knocked her down even as she tried to stand back up. He delivered a kick that knocked her back onto the ground. But his memories of his mother being hurt by his father began flashing in his head. He remembered the images he saw that day, and his mind began shattering during the match. Marlene used it to her advantage and kicked him down, standing on top of him and smiling. She began punching him, and Yuji believed that this was all to pay for his sin of ending his father. Before he knew it, Yuji had lost and became a disappointment for Oslo. Inside the jail cell, Marlene came in to treat his wounds, crying and apologizing for hurting him because she wished she hadn't done that to him. Marlene would continue trying to feed him and being the only one talking to him until the day of her graduation. She told him goodbye and that she would see him again. But that was the last time he ever saw and talked to Marlene. The nurse revealed the sad news to Yuji after her first job, and Yuji wondered if he'd been able to save her by beating her instead of being kind. After graduating, Yuji took on his first assassination mission and disguised himself as a maid to enter a rich man's room. While he was distracted, Yuji managed to complete his mission. His assassinations continued being successful until one day they broke into Oslo's home. The law enforcement destroyed all of the people standing in their way and nearly cornered Oslo. After destroying all of his security, they discovered an underground passage and a steel door that guarded it. After blowing it up, the only thing they found was a white-haired child sitting inside. Yuji's white hair fell off, and Asako looked at the boy, realizing that she found something interesting. Oslo was able to escape through the water. Asako decided to take Yuji with her to Japan, but JB decided to follow her along because she needed to supervise the two of them. Inside the hospital, Asako commanded him to get out of bed within the next 40 seconds. She hit him in the head and continued threatening him, so JB yelled at her to be more gentle with the kid, but Yuji had never experienced kindness and wouldn't know how to respond. Asako treated him like garbage and told him to cut this out. She grabbed his face, saying that she was going to be his god from now on. Inside her home, she commanded him to change his dirty clothes, but what they saw shocked them. His body was filled with scars and gun wounds, and he hadn't eaten in weeks. Asako told JB to bring drinks and food for them, but at the dinner table, Yuji didn't eat. Instead, when a fly came by, he crushed it with his hand. As he stared at the fly, his mind froze, and he screamed in fear and threw up. Asako came to comfort him, telling him not to puke in her disgusting home. He slept at night, and Asako realized that his mind was more broken than she thought because, while she bathed him, she saw 2 gun wounds, countless knife gouges, and broken bones. Asako thought it may have been easier for him to just end his life, but she vowed that she would protect him as his god. The next morning, Asako was sitting on top of Yuji, attempting to force him to eat, but Yuji begged JB to save him. Asako told him to quit sweet-talking the dumb blonde because she was so lonely and stupid she listened to anything. As a victim, Asako got Yuji his own puppy that would now be his partner and told him to take good care of it. Yuji decides to name it John Doe, which is the code name for a corpse in the military. Asako looks at him playing with his puppy, and JB thinks that this is the first time she's ever seen him act like an actual kid. A few months pass, and Asako decides to quit her job for the intelligence agency. JB warns her that she'll be imprisoned or executed if she just quits like this and wonders if Yuji is the reason she's been changing. Asako reveals that she's become afraid of dying because she has to take care of Yuji, but she's also beginning to lose vision in her eye and can't be a good sniper anymore. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the vast realms of anime. Don't forget to subscribe, hit that notification bell, and stay tuned for more thrilling reviews and discussions. Until next time, keep exploring the boundless wonders of anime with us.